Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I am Bekah Joe, aka the Makeup Tax Lady, and I come to you today with some more crazy fun swatches on my face. We are taking a look at the Ensley Reign Cosmetics Harvest Moon palette. We're starting off by doing this beautiful look on my eyes and then taking the time to delve in and enjoy these beautiful swatches on my face. I had so much fun playing with this palette today, and I have been having so much fun playing with this palette, so I would love it if you'd stick around, like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you're thinking, let me know what you'd like to see more of, and yeah, let's get into the video. My nose is red because I just sneezed and it's allergy season, so you know the drill. Okay, let's put together a look with the Harvest Moon palette by Ensley Reign. I'm sure you'll be seeing a lot of pictures of the palette throughout this video. I think for this look, I want to do a halo eye. So you've already seen the finished look. I'm coming up with it right now. Okay, so the only thing I have on my face right now is eyeshadow primer. I want to dip into the shade Chili right here in the middle, this matte, and I'm going to put that on the inner and outer corners of my eye. So hopefully you're seeing that because I'm using a fluffier brush. This is an angled eyeshadow brush from Sydney Grace. I don't have the name or number of the brush on it itself, but because it's a fluffier brush, it's laying down the pigment in a softer way. I'm going to use a more dense brush here in just a minute and you'll be able to see the difference. But I appreciate that the mattes can be softened out and blended out well. And I think that speaks to the quality of the pigment. I'm just taking a clean, fluffy brush. This is another Sydney Grace brush, and just going to run that over all of the edges of the matte. Okay, next I want to dip into the shade Spooky Season, and I'm going to use this more dense brush from Sierra Martin to do so. I'm just going to take this shade and build it up on the inner and outer corners. Hopefully you can see the difference that that shade has made. Same clean, fluffy brush, just blending everything out. Okay, I'm going to use this same brush and dip into Phantom and build up just a little bit more depth on the inner and outer corners. I have been loving layering mattes lately, so here we are. And there is the difference that the shade Phantom has made. I'm not super worried about everything blending into each other just yet. I'll kind of go back and forth to do that before we're done. But also because it's a halo eye, I'm just kind of leaving the center open and not focused on blending everything seamlessly through the center of the eye. Once more with the clean, fluffy brush, just on the edges of everything. I'm taking a little bit of my JD Glow Glitter Stuck Adhesive. This has been working really well for me in applying and then keeping shimmer shades on my lids. So I'm just picking that up with my brush, just gonna slap it over mostly the empty space here, and then just a little bit over the edges on either side. Okay, before that dries completely, I'm going to take Sweater Weather. I'm going to take that with the gluey side of the brush, which I am not sure which side that is anymore. And I'm going to put that kind of where the mattes come into the more empty space. And then we're going to use Hunter's Moon, this gorgeous holographic shade here. We're going to put that right down the center. Hopefully you can see some of the shift on my eyes. Plus, this particular shade is definitely a chunkier textured shade. So you saw that I dipped back in multiple times with my brush. I'm not usually a brush for shimmers kind of person, and that shade in particular might have done better if I used a finger, but I was committed to using the brush. I do appreciate that a brush can help you be a little more precise. So it is what it is, but let's see how it picks up for Hunter's Moon. Okay, yeah, so it definitely picks up on the brush a little bit more easily. Hunter's Moon does compared to Sweater Weather. Let's use the shade right down the center. So heckin' pretty. Okay, that looks gorgeous. I'm going to take my clean fluffy brush once again and just kind of buff around the edges of everything so there's no harsh shimmer lines, no harsh matte lines. Everything is looking lovely. Okay, I am going to go put on, I'm going to use a concealer for my foundation just because I want to, and I'll do my foundation, a little bit of powder, I'll put on mascara, I'll do something on the lower lash line, and then I'll come back so that we can do fun, crazy swatches of the Harvest Moon palette on my face. Be right back. Okay, here is the look. I always feel a little naked when I just have a base product on and no blush or bronzer, but it's what we're doing today, and it's because we're doing face swatches on the face of the palette. And I am excited to dig my fingers in. In case you're curious, for my base, I threw on my It Cosmetics Bye Bye Dark Spots Concealer Serum. This is a nice concealer. It's not one that I love. I think it's water-based, so if I'm wearing a foundation and then try to just use this under my eyes, doesn't usually mix well. As an all-over base product, it looks really nice. It's got a solid medium coverage and it's very skin-like, but it's one that stays kind of tacky all day long, and I don't love it for that reason. But I do love it because I like having a little bit more of a tacky base when I'm doing a face swatch with eyeshadows because it helps it stick just a little bit to the skin. I did do a light dusting of my Sydney Grace Cloud 9 loose powder over the top of everything. So yeah, let's get into our swatches. Okay, here is the gorgeous palette. Hopefully you can see some of the shifts just in the pan there. We are going to start here on the top. Okay, here are our first 3 shades that will be swatched on the face. We've got Foliage, middle finger is Harvest Moon, and then Corn Maze. Harvest Moon here is definitely more of that chunky texture. Let's start by swatching over here. Oh, that shade is gorgeous. So again, those shades are Foliage, Harvest Moon, and Corn Maze. Next 3 shades in the palette, we've got Hunter's Moon, which has holographic sparkles in the shade. I think they're rainbow holographic. Next is Equinox or Equinox, and then we have Sparkling Cider. So again, we have Hunter's Moon, Equinox, and Sparkling Cider. Equinox is a little bit chunkier shade, but maybe not quite as chunky as Harvest Moon. And last shade for that top row is the shade Ghost Moon. Hopefully you'll be able to see just how shifty this shade is. It's really fascinating. So here is Ghost Moon. Look at that pigmentation. It's insane. So pretty. Okay, so that was everything in the first row. Now we're gonna move on to the second row. Here in the second row, we have Deciduous, Flannel, and Sweater Weather. Both Flannel and Sweater Weather are chunkier textures. Deciduous is so incredibly smooth, it's unbelievable. So again, we have Deciduous, Flannel, and Sweater Weather. Next shades here we have Bougie, which is spelled boo, like a ghost says boo, and then J-E-E, Bougie. It's super cute. Bougie. And then Witchful Thinking, and then Tombstone. Both Bougie and Witchful Thinking have holochromes, and I think those are also the rainbow holochromes, from what I can tell. And then Tombstone is a similar consistency and texture to Deciduous and to Ghost Moon and Sparkling Cider, which are all incredibly smooth formulas. And the last of our shimmer shades is the shade Forage. This one is a more chunky texture. And there is the shade Forage. Okay, those are the beautiful shimmers of this palette. Now I want to do the mattes, and we'll do them across my forehead. For your reference, here are the mattes. All 7 in this last row are mattes. Here are the first 3 mattes. We have Pumpkin Patch, Hayride, and Cozy. Going to build up Hayride just a little bit. There we go. And Cozy, because I got them a little too close together. Next are the 3 mattes that we used for today's look. We have Chilly, Spooky Season, and Phantom. Gotta love painting those tiny blonde hairs. And last but certainly not least, we have our matte here in the shade Hibernate. So across the forehead this way, we have Pumpkin Patch, Hayride, Cozy, Chilly, Spooky Season, Phantom, and Hibernate. I think I forgot to say it before, but I just put a little bit of Cozy under my eyes and just kind of smudged that out. I don't have anything else going on there, but I think that this look, these swatches, this palette by Ensley Reign, so pretty. So pretty. So obviously some of these shades are a little bit more textured and some are a little bit more smooth. The smooth shades are like butter. Like they are so delicious and yummy, and oh, they you know when something just like, yes, that's good. That's what those feel like. They feel so good. The mattes in here all work beautifully. As you saw, I didn't have any patchiness blending any of them out. I used a fluffier brush to start with my lightest shade and then build up to my deepest shade, and they built on each other beautifully. The matte selection in here is definitely deep for my preferences, but because I can use them with a fluffier brush and they blend out and kind of sheer out just a little bit so well, I haven't had any issues. I've also been, this is just more of like a personal Bekah Jo take, I have been focusing my mattes and my deep shades just on the outer corner. I know it's traditional that we start putting a shade in the crease, but I've kind of only been letting what goes in the crease, especially for a matte shade, just be whatever I blend from the outer corner. So I think when I'm using a deeper shade and then just letting that kind of blend into the crease, I like the way that that looks a little bit better. That's just a personal preference thing. But with this palette and then with some of the other Ensley Reign palettes that I've been playing with, that method has been working well for me. I will say too, I know that a lot of these shimmers are deeper, especially some on this side, but because of the brilliance, because of the shine and impact that these shades have, they don't feel too deep on my eyes. When I have a shimmer shade that is really pretty or shifty, but it doesn't have that shine and that brilliance to it, it feels often like it's weighing my eyes down, and I don't feel that way with the majority of these shades. Some of them still are deep shades, it is what it is, but because of that shine and that reflect on it, it makes up for it and it shows the light, it brings that light to the front. Hopefully that makes sense. Even with the look that I have right now, like these are deeper shades, and I know that this is more of a fall time palette and it's springtime, but this would be a gorgeous spring look. Maybe a little bit heavy, but there are no makeup rules, so I don't really care. I do think that the shades that I'm wearing do help bring that life and that light to my eyes. So we did one look here. I have posted a couple looks, I think, on my Instagram using this palette, and I plan to continue playing with it and sharing looks with it. It's not going anywhere. It's staying right here in my collection. I'm so happy that I picked this palette up. At this point in time, I have not decided to pick up the new Flower Moon or the new Strawberry Moon. I have the original Flower Moon. I do not have the original Strawberry Moon. So I have Flower Moon, Harvest Moon, Cold Moon, and then I also have Groovy Garden, Twisted Tea Party, and Lands of Enchantment. I'm good on eyeshadow palettes for a hot minute. I know some people buy eyeshadow palettes regularly like that. I don't typically do that, but I got this one on a sale, and I had gotten Flower Moon before that, and I think Groovy Garden came out before this went on sale. I don't recall. But either way, I have accumulated those palettes in a short time frame, and I'm so happy that I did. I've been having so much fun playing with each and every one of the palettes, and I plan to continue to do more content with them. So let me know in the comments, have you tried the brand? Do you have this palette? Is this one that you're passing on? I am so curious to hear. I'll show you the palette once again just because it's so pretty. I think definitely during the fall and like early winter times, I may be getting even more use out of this palette, but this one I think is so pretty for simple two and done looks, or throw a few mattes and then just one shimmer over the eye. And it's so fun. It's so fun to play with. It's so fun to wear. So that is all I have for you today. Like I said, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you haven't already, I'd love it if you would like and subscribe. Come back for some more Ensley Reign content in the future. And thank you so much for being here today. I'll see you next time.